All right, and welcome to the Breakin Broncos podcast. I am your host, Daniel Westhart, and as always, with my co host, Dylan Miles. Looking all dapper and stuff today.
Oh,
I
I'm
do
tired.
apologize. We are a little bit late, and I have to apologize for last week. My truck decided to die on the way to the studio. Like, literally, the transmission shredded as I was going down I-25. So that is why we didn't make it, and I had to spend the whole week trying to get it sold, get another vehicle, but we are good. We are here. We
You
are
get a new
live.
car?
So, I'm borrowing a vehicle from a family member until we can
Gotcha.
purchase another vehicle. But yeah, so that's how I'm getting around from A to B right now until those vaunted taxes times. That way I can go ahead and get something that is reliable and stable instead of just going out and snatching up some little cheap POS off of Craigslist and have it die in a couple of weeks. So thankfully, I got some awesome family that was willing to let me borrow a car for a couple of months while we wait for those times to happen. So thank you
Oh yeah.
again, my family, Tay42 family. Y'all are absolutely awesome. We love you. Thank you again. So jumping into actual football talk today, we have a yet another loss, but this one feels a little bit different. We're going to talk about how the Broncos, who were a completely depleted roster, went out there, gave it their best effort. Unfortunately, bad coaching and other things led to them not being successful. But you did get to see another full game of Drew Lock, which, unlike some, I was impressed. We'll talk about that. Melvin Gordon finally outperforms Javonte Williams. Noah Fant probably has his best game of the season. We're going to break that down. We also have some, again, talking about battling next man up. We had a lot of that yesterday, so we're going to make sure that we highlight some of these guys that were pressed into service and show you exactly what they were able to do on such short notice. And then, of course, as always, previews and picks of the next game, which is actually the final game of the season, and we'll put the Broncos in the offseason faster than anybody else. I don't know what you're fumbling with over there, guy, but
Oh,
it is
I did not know
loud.
you could hear that. That's my my lights remote.
Gotcha. Okay. So yeah, that is loud. But anyways, um,
Yeah, I forgot
so
my stand's
starting
connected to
off,
my desk and not the wall.
right, vibrations flow right through that
Oh yeah.
sucker. But as I stated, Broncos were able to go out and battle despite a depleted roster. They battled, were able to keep it a combined 23 points for the first three quarters between both teams. Obviously, 20 of those points were the Chargers, but then both teams exploded for 24 or 34 points. No, my bad, 24 points in the fourth quarter. Sorry, math was going wrong in my head. But what do you think changed between that third quarter and that fourth quarter that the Broncos just seem to just completely fall apart?
All right, so I'm gonna let you know. I want to let you in on a little secret here, real quick.
What's that?
I fell asleep after the first half. I was. I know you liked my tweet, and I had that 2-day festival for New Year's, and I
Yes.
was completely wiped. I was tired. So I was watching the first half
Of
of the
course.
game, and then I passed out in the second half and woke up with the next game on. But
That's
from what
hilarious.
I got to see was the coaching. Obviously, that going forward on that first fourth down, what was it, like 4th and 6 or something like that,
Yeah. Yeah. That first one in the
somewhere
first,
around
I think it was
there.
the first quarter.
I like the aggressiveness, but that's not going to get you to keep your job.
No.
And going forward,
Uh,
and going forward down on in the red zone, in near the goal line, instead of going for the field goal, is what really set me over from what I saw.
no, I completely agree with you on that. I liked the aggressiveness at times, but it was just another reminder that
Mm-hmm.
this coaching staff does not know how to manage a game. I mean,
Yeah,
if you look back on it, that kick, that time they went for it on the fourth down that you were just
yeah.
talking about, if they kick that field goal when they score their touchdown, it's 20-13. It's a 7-point game.
And the
That I
defense, it's
mean,
not like the defense played bad.
no,
They didn't play
no, the
bad
defense played
for with all the
really good.
starters, especially without all the starters too. And that
Yes,
shows you how much of a
exactly.
top tier defense that defense is.
Yeah, the defense and the scheming. Like, yes,
Mm-hmm.
Fangio was able to prove again that he is a defensive genius, but that doesn't matter when you're a head coach. When you are a head coach, you are to hire a defensive genius and hire an offensive genius. And Fangio has done neither of these things. And then on top of it, we have Tom McMahon, who he refuses to fire, even though the Broncos have the worst special teams.
Oh, that opening
in the
kickoff was
league.
horrendous.
Oh, and then they had a 101-yard return in the second half.
Yeah, good thing I was asleep.
Yeah. I mean, that was when they were finally getting back into it. The Broncos had just scored or just got a field goal. They settled for a field goal in the second half, unlike they should have done in the first half. And so they get shot right in the foot for trying to take that field goal and trust the defense by the special teams on the very next play that the guy takes it back 101 yards. It wasn't even like it was a short kick where he had to return it. It actually was in the end zone. He could have kneeled it, but because the coverage was so horrible, like it usually is, he was able to just skate like untouched. He would not have been tackled if this was two-hand touch. Heck, if it was even one-hand touch, he probably wouldn't have been
flag football.
Yes, like it doesn't matter what the scenario, the man would have scored a touchdown regardless.
I don't know, maybe he tucked them flags into his pants a little bit so you couldn't pull them as easy. I had some kids that I coach flag football do that and piss me off.
Oh yeah, same here. Or they'll like wrap them around. That's another way that you can do it. Like wrap it around and it creates that friction where you can't rip it off. Like I remember what like adults do that. I ripped off some dude's pants playing flag football because he did that and he had it around in his loops. I just ripped his whole pants off. I was like, hey, that counts, right?
I mean, hey.
But yeah, I mean,
he left them pantsless, but
yeah, hey, that's his fault. Shouldn't have done that. Don't cheat.
It's his fault for cheating.
All right, that's for cheating. That's karma. That is karma. But yeah, I think the same thing. Like what you're saying is like it was a depleted roster. You got guys that literally have not been on the active roster the entire season. They were just pulled up from the practice squad, and I mean they gave valiant efforts. Like we're gonna go into detail later. So it was really fun to watch for 3 quarters, and then it got really ugly in the fourth. Like I mean, I know for most people, 20-3. Isn't a fun watch, but when again you take into account that we had guys out there that you can't name, like Jonas Griffith and Scott Hairston, or Nate Hairston.
I was surprised by Jonas Griffith.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, Jonas Griffith. Micah Kaiser was a nice surprise.
I saw when he got pulled up from the practice squad.
Oh, what was that defensive? I think his name is Josh Harrison. Is that what it is?
I think you're right. Yeah.
Quick. It's either Josh or Jonathan Harrison. Jonathan Harrison. Sorry. Jonathan Harris.
Yeah, 2 Harrises on the team.
Yeah, we got 2 Harrises on the team. Jonathan and Shelby. And they all 3 really balled out. So it was fun to see the next man up mentality. Guys go out there, fight for everything that they had. Unfortunately, they just didn't have enough against an absolutely stacked LA Chargers roster that really didn't have anybody of significance really missing. I can't think of anybody that they even talked about, not even an offensive lineman or defensive lineman. It seemed like they had a pretty healthy roster going in.
They still have a chance to make the playoffs. The Chargers do, right?
All they have to do is win. That's
they do?
Literally all they have to do.
And
beat the Raiders this weekend, and they're in.
As much as I hate everybody in our division, I'd rather see the Chargers go over the Raiders. Because I like Justin Herbert. I like Justin Herbert. I only root for him.
Yeah.
Not when he's playing me, though.
If you want to see Justin Herbert play, then you want to see the Chargers. Now, if you want to see an AFC West team that's going to get embarrassed in the playoffs,
it's the Chargers.
that would be the Raiders.
That would be the Raiders.
Yeah, the Chargers actually have the talent and ability and coaching to be dangerous. They could be like, how Tennessee was a couple years ago when they took it to the AFC Championship game.
It was that
Seattle
offense
Seahawks
carried them. That defense was okay. The defense did what they had to do. But we've seen before, especially with the Titans in the AFC Championship game, what happens to a team that has a mediocre defense at best that's in the playoffs.
Exactly. Yeah, they can give up those big leads, even if you give a huge.
Oh no, you shut down Lamar Jackson. I mean,
yeah, that was impressive. But again, that was also before Lamar Jackson could really read defenses. He was still learning those.
When he was still a running back,
Yeah, yes, exactly. When people are still calling him a running back. So
He still is a running
I would
back,
like
which
to
is
see
mean.
that. I would like to see that game replayed with Jackson knowing what he knows now. I don't think it goes quite the same way
No.
that it went
Well, say
before.
Ravens are out of the playoffs now, aren't they?
I don't think so quite yet. I think
They,
they're still technically in the hunt.
they still have. They have to have
I know
a
they're.
couple things go their way.
Yeah, yeah. It's a very tenuous and very small percentage, but yeah, they've pretty much screwed themselves. And somehow Tennessee might pull out the number one seed, even though
Hey,
not having Derrick Henry for over half the season. So I want to see what people are talking about where
I'm
Ryan
gonna.
Tannehill can't win without Derrick Henry.
I want to name my pick right now for my AFC. I want the Bengals in my heart
All right.
because I like me some Joey Burrow. We both. I know we like Joe Burrow from what we did back in school watching that national championship game. We love us some Burrow, especially
Right.
when he
Okay.
had no nameplate in the back.
Yes, most definitely. Well, we got some shout outs here. James, my dog, I appreciate the share. I appreciate you coming on and all of those good things. You're always a good man. I appreciate you. And then there's my babe. Hello, babe. Again, for all y'all that don't know, it was my babe's birthday yesterday. Happy birthday, baby. She's
And we're
36.
sorry about the Broncos.
Yes, we are sorry that the Broncos couldn't get you your win. Um, let's see. The Broncos was a duct tape team on the field. That's a good one. And Nika, as always, hello. Thank you for coming in. We love you.
Back with that duct tape, it reminds you of the Deadpool 2 scene when he gets ripped in half by Juggernaut and he's got the suit
Yes.
kept together by duct tape. That was the Broncos yesterday.
Yes, it was. That's a very good analogy. They were ripped in half, put together by duct tape, and thrown out on the field. I like that. That's perfect. But speaking of Broncos and getting put, duct tape together and put back on the field, how about we go ahead and talk about Drew Lock, who went out there again without two of his three best wide receivers, another receiver that was sick and injured. You had your starting left guard, your starting right guard, and your starting right tackle all out. And he still goes out there and puts up the second best passer rating of his entire career, 116.6. Has almost 70% completion percentage, goes for over 250 yards and a touchdown. If
he didn't have a pick, did he? Right? He didn't have another pick.
No, he has gone 6 straight quarters without a turnover, and he has gone almost 10 straight quarters without a interception. So the man has shown growth.
That fumble in the other game was something else. Like that's something that could go either way.
Yeah, exactly. That was kind of, but still, again, it is.
But the only reason we're going to see that happen is because Drew Lock can run the ball like that. We want to see Teddy do that, right? We want to see Teddy do that because he's not going to be doing plays like that. That's the difference between these two guys.
Yeah, you don't want him running around like that. You don't want,
especially after that knockout again. Ooh.
And I mean, he had knee injuries, shin injuries, quad injuries. The man was another person that was literally put together by duct tape. So now, if
he was put together by chicken wire and mud.
Exactly. But if Drew has another stellar performance against KC this weekend, will he have shown enough for you to be comfortable if they give him another chance?
I'm going to go 50-50 on this. 50% will say yes, but I have to see if the other half says no, right? If you want to seal the deal 100% for me, you have to beat KC. Beat KC. I'm still sold. I still love me some Drew, but you didn't get to see much of him this season, right? So that's where I'm like, I've seen what he can do before. I've seen what else he can do with the half and half. Now, if you can beat KC, I'm sold.
I got you. Okay. Hey, that's honestly a better answer than I thought you would give. I thought you'd just be like, no, burn it all down. Give me Russell, but
oh, hell no, I don't want Russ.
There. I love Russ. I would love to.
I love me some Russ, but I don't want him.
Okay. Hey, we can have a discussion about that. I like it.
I forgot to talk to you about this because we had to get to that quick start because of everything going on. Right. It was the trade because my mom was asking me who I would like as a head coach. And then she asked defense, and I said, hell no, I don't want another defensive coach, right? We've had 2 in a row.
Right.
We've seen what's happened. And we've seen what's happened when we've had offensive coaches, right?
Right.
Give me a Brian Dabo, or I forgot the Packers offensive coordinator's name.
Hackman.
Give me Hackman. Give me one of those 2. Those are my 2 perfect picks, mainly because I saw an analyst talk about a trade deal, something that could happen, which I know you won't like and my mom doesn't like just because it involves A-Rod.
What?
All right. I was looking at this one. Aaron Rodgers, it was you give away 2 first-round picks in the 2023 and 2024. You give away a second and a third in whatever draft. Jerry Jeudy for A-Rod, and you can sign Devontae Adams in free agency. That's what I was seeing, and I go, it makes a lot of sense, right? But you know how hard that's going to be a hard way to pull it off. That's why Brian Daboll is my number one.
Yeah, considering that that once you get Aaron Rodgers and have his contract, you don't have enough to sign Devontae Adams without unloading the contracts of at least Courtland Sutton, if not both Sutton and Patrick, which would be essentially impossible. And also, I don't think that 2 firsts is good enough for a possible back-to-back MVP.
Exactly, right.
And then and 2 firsts, a second, and a third. That sounds really light for a Hall of Fame quarterback. I mean, I understand the man's 36 years old, and you don't want to give up everything for the man. But if you're going to make that trade, you're going to have to include a guy like Courtland Sutton.
That's the one I forgot to put in there. That's the one I forgot. It was with Jerry Jeudy.
Yeah, and then you sign. Okay, then and in that case you would sign Devontae Adams, and your receiving core would consist of Devontae Adams, Tim Patrick, and KJ Hamler.
3 number 1 receivers, right?
Yeah,
basically 3 1 receivers, except maybe you put Timmy P's more of a 2.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, you probably put those guys in the place they belong. You put Tim Patrick as the number 2 receiver, and then you put KJ Hamler in the slot.
Yep.
And it removes Jeudy from the slot, which is an absolute waste of the man's talent.
Exactly.
That drives me nuts.
That's why I wanted to bring that up, because I wanted to talk about that. Because when I was looking at that, I go, it makes a lot of sense, right? When you look at the numbers in your head, you're like, yeah, right, I could see that. But then you think of the specifics. You think of the technicality and the backgrounds of what's going to happen with the money, with who you're going to lose, who you're going to waste.
Yeah. I mean,
it's not a bad
scenario. If you're able to pull that off, it's not a bad trade. That's actually a pretty good trade.
You probably get a steal off of it if you're going to give them 2 first rounds, a second, and a third.
Yeah, if you're only giving up 2 first, and you have 2 2s and 2 3s this year.
Yeah,
so you can give up a first, a second, and a third this year, and still have a second, third. I think he's got 2 4s, a 5, 2 6s, and a 7.
He's got a lot.
And that's just off the top of my head. Don't hold me to that. So for those of you that are looking,
we were looking at it a couple weeks ago. He's got plenty to work with.
He's got a ton of draft capital, and if you're able to pull that out, because I mean, for Russell, he's a bit younger. More likely, you're going to give up 3 1s, at least 1 2, and a 3, and probably a player or 2. But if you're giving up that much draft capital, you don't have to give up your superstars.
Exactly.
You can probably give them like a Drew Lock and
a Teddy, maybe. Oh, can't really, because his contract's up.
Yeah, well, he's gone. Yeah, he's gone. His contract's up. So maybe like a Drew Lock and maybe a KJ Hamler or maybe Timmy P if you need to get rid of some salary cap room to make sure that you can handle.
Especially for Russ. Wilson. Russ is going to want a lot of money. The man is worth a lot of. He's worth.
The man already gets over $30 million a year. So
man pays $1 million for his personal chef a year.
Yeah, exactly. So the man's paid and he's worth every penny. And then you also have the third dark horse option, Deshaun Watson getting his stuff taken care. That's the ideal situation.
There was some new stuff that came out, wasn't there? There were like 3 or 4 recently. There's like 3 or 4 of the women didn't want to take the plea deal, but the rest did. But that's why it's not settled now, and it's going to go to court. Exactly.
That's what we discussed on our last live. Is
that the one I missed?
That Deshaun, no, not that one. The one before, the last one you were on. Last.
That's
live.
Right. Yep.
Yeah. But we were talking about how he had the only reason he's not a Dolphin is because 3 women wouldn't settle their lawsuits, and then turned around and he rejected the Panthers because the Panthers didn't care. Panthers were going to take him even if he couldn't settle the other 3, but he wouldn't waive his no trade clause. So he would be a Dolphin if it was not for the fact that 3 of the women would not settle their lawsuits out of the 22. So he got 19 of the 22 to settle. And again, there's been an open criminal investigation for almost a year. There has been an open NFL investigation.
Well, when we say open, we mean open.
Yes. Yeah, we mean literally open. They have literally not found a single thing. They have not found a single bit of evidence or anything that could criminally charge him, or even that Roger Goodell could say, hey, look, you broke our conduct policy, so I'm going to suspend you or put you on the exempt list. Goodell has forced one of his bosses to pay a guy his boss doesn't want to pay because they cannot find any legal footing to not pay him. If the NFL any reason to stop,
if you can't convict the juice, I don't think you can convict Deshaun Watson.
Well, I mean,
hey, gloves didn't fit. The gloves didn't fit.
Let's not put Deshaun Watson in the OJ pot.
I love the juice.
Now, if we find out that there's some evidence, yes, I know. Now, if we find out there's some evidence that he got away with it, then we can put him in with OJ. But we all know what OJ did. He got away with it. That's a whole different story. I don't want to put.
Did you see that tweet?
Yeah.
Did you see that tweet he put out like a couple months ago, OJ, where he was like, he's afraid to go back to LA because he's afraid he'll run into the real killer?
Oh, geez. Yes. And then he's trying to I mean, dude, would you stop talking about it?
Oh, it's so goddamn funny.
I know, but he's the only reason that anybody's talking about it. He tries to make it sound like he's so scared and the real killer's going to find him and they're going to kill him because they were really after him. Really? But they killed your girlfriend and her boyfriend or
that top
or wife.
The top comment on that tweet was hilarious. It was like, well, you afraid you're going to run into a mirror in LA?
Right. That's a good one. Yes. I just don't get it, man. Why does he have to bring dude, you already have enough of a following without ever talking about that.
I mean, he goes to Bills games.
Absolutely die. Yeah, he goes to Bills games, all that. I don't see how the Bills keep themselves associated with him.
That video of him walking into the crowd with a beer and everybody chanting OJ was the greatest thing I think I've ever seen.
It was pretty epic.
So
but I mean,
funny.
Yeah, that's
the juice,
that's
man.
I don't get I'm the person that I can't separate the artist from the horrendous things they do. I can't listen to R. Kelly anymore.
I didn't listen to R. Kelly to begin with.
I mean, I loved R. Kelly growing up. Outside of the whole closet thing, that was weird. And now when I look back and I listen to his music, it makes me feel dirty. Because if you listen to his music now and you have the hindsight of what he's done, it's he's literally talking about being a pedophile. You thought that he was talking about grown women, but no, he's talking about little girls because that's what he likes.
I saw it was like an old Pete Davidson joke about
Bill
that.
Cosby. Oh,
dude, he's gonna do a comedy tour. I saw.
Oh, that's
we should go.
We probably should. He's a
I want to see what he wants. I want to see what he wants to talk about.
The craziest crap you could ever think of. He is a more raw version of George Carlin.
Dude, he was like royalty in prison from what I've seen. They loved him.
Yeah, people loved him, and women love him. Ever since Ariana Grande made her statements about him, women have ran to him. I guess that's a thing. But yeah, I think
Bill Cosby.
He's that next door neighbor, the kid next door with a little bit of a bad boy. You could tell he's never really done anything hard or crazy. He's just that party boy that likes to go out and have fun.
Hey, he was doing Quaaludes.
The man's done everything.
The man provided Martin Luther King Jr. with a PA system for his Washington Monument speech.
There you go.
Yeah, right. Oh,
Getting back to football.
Yeah,
here.
Sorry. There's not much to talk about. That's why I just had to bring that up.
No, I got you. Hey, plug in here and there, but I think it's a good way because as we're talking about performances, Melvin Gordon outperforms Javonte Williams for only the third time this year.
Had a great day.
18 tries. He had a decent day. Averaged 4.3 yards per carry, 43 yards on 10 carries. Never got into the end zone, even though he should have at one point. That got negated by an illegal formation penalty that led to that fourth down that we talked about earlier that they failed on. So again, we've had our consternations, but I'm going to give you this chance to have some retrospective hindsight 2020. Has he been able to win you over, and would you like to see him back in any type of role?
as much as we rag on the man, right? We know he's a good running back. He's in the NFL for a reason. The man is a good running back. Yeah, no.
Yeah, he's not a scrub.
The man's done what he has proven himself before. And, especially with this season, with the pressure that's been put on him with Javonte Williams, I wouldn't mind seeing him come back, but in the backup role, where they still split the snaps, but Javonte still gets the majority of the carries. Because we've seen that a few games. Javonte's got a few of the carries, right? More like a few games where he had more carries than Melvin. And we've seen how productive they've been. Most of those have been in wins, where Javonte's had more carries, and Melvin Gordon they just, ugh. I still would like to see him back, but in the running back 2 position.
I got you.
It's just something you could get him back for cheap. You couldn't. It's not like you're going to spend a lot of money on him.
If you can get him back for cheap, and my problem there is I do believe that there is going to be a team out there that sees him as a 1A, because he has shown his flashes. He is a former Pro Bowler, back-to-back years. He's come just short of 1,000 yards, can catch the ball out of the backfield. He's okay at pass blocking. He's not a guy that I would trust if, say, like a Bradley Chubb or somebody like that was coming around the corner. But he can definitely take care of a middle linebacker, maybe chip or cut a lineman. But again, not a guy I would really trust as a 3-down back for my system. But I do believe that there is somebody out there that's going to be willing to pay him more than George Payton.
Maybe like a Houston or Miami.
Yeah, I could see Houston. Miami would be a good place for him to go. They need him and Gaskin. I think would be a really good 1-2 punch. And then Lindsey there again with him.
Oh yeah,
could you imagine that? Could you? I wonder how much Lindsey would enjoy.
Here we go again.
Right here. We go
I think if he does end up leaving, which I wouldn't be I would be happy to see, but not that happy because he's done great things for the team for the time he's been here. But especially from what we saw from Mike Boone, that Chiefs game, I still wouldn't be opposed of him leaving.
That's my thing. Yes. I want to see the Broncos go out. Don't go and sign some veteran. We don't need one in that.
We got 2 perfectly good running backs.
Yeah, Mike Boone, Javonte Williams. Go find yourself, a good power back, either a power back or a nice elusive back somewhere in the mid to late rounds. Pair them with Boone and Javonte Williams and allow their cheap contracts to allow you to go out into free agency and fix this part right here from my nephew Darren Fletcher. Exactly. We need a better O-line. Take that money. Don't waste that money on a running back. Take that money, go find you some good offensive linemen that are going to fit whatever offensive scheme is going to be next year. That's another big problem of this offensive line this year is they got a bunch of zone run offensive linemen like a Dalton Reisner and a Garrett Bowles playing in a power scheme. That doesn't work. I know
those are our 2 best linemen, I think, right? Would you agree? Those are the 2 best linemen. Dalton Reisner and Garrett Bowles on the team.
Yes. As
Boyd Cushenberry has improved.
He has improved. But again, these are all zone blockers blocking in a power scheme. All of these guys are physically built for a Shanahan type
like me
zone
some ham
blocking scheme. Yeah, love me some ham, and they obviously love them some ham too. That's how this is damn big. But these guys are not meant for this scheme. Now you look at when you're talking about power blockers, probably the best one on the roster is Quinn Miners. He's probably not
definitely
the best when it comes to pass blocking, but when it comes to this system and run blocking, the belly dozer is far and beyond the best when it comes to blocking in this type of a power scheme, which is why I say don't get the running back, go get your offensive lineman, because Javonte Williams can work in any type of system. He can work in a zone system or he can work in a power run scheme. He has the patience and the vision to work in either one, either or, it doesn't matter. Same thing with Mike Boone. He has the quickness and the speed to really work in either scheme.
He made us mistaken for Javonte a couple of those snaps.
Yes, a couple of snaps.
He's breaking tackles.
Yeah, he runs angry. It's surprising for how small he is, how angry he runs. because him and Javonte, like, he's actually a little bit shorter than Javonte. Javonte's like 5'10". I think
we looked up.
Mike
He was
Boone's
5'11" last time we checked.
Yeah, 5'11".
Maybe he shrunk an inch or grew an inch. Who knows?
But hey, who knows? Who knows? He is still a young kid. Who knows? It's definitely possible. But
I mean,
yeah,
I'm
Mike
20
Boone's
and
like
I grew another
5'9",
inch this year.
212. Yeah. So Mike Boone's a little bit smaller, but he still runs with an incredible amount of power for how small he is. Like a lot of people try to liken him to Philip Lindsay. Lindsay doesn't have that type of power. I'm sorry. I love Lindsay. That's
no,
my dog,
Javonte is
but
5'10". You were right.
Back. I was right. Nice. All right. But either way, yeah.
God damn it, you're always right.
Yeah. Don't let my wife hear that. She doesn't like it when people say that.
Maybe not to her, but like when we're on here.
Yeah, I know. But I'm even right then, and she hates it. So let's see. They got some more comments here. I thought the Broncos should have scored more points. I think all of us do. Oh shoot!
I should have taken a few more hours of that nap, but.
Right, yeah. A lot of that had to do with, like, I still don't understand why the Broncos ran a Philly special. And when they threw
my dad explained that to me when I woke up, and I was like, dude, I was so out of it because I was so tired, bad. And I was like,
it was so bad.
Are you telling me they tried to run a Philly special? Because he explained, like, he broke down the play. I'm like, you mean a Philly special?
Right.
Like, yeah, and I go, you could have just said that. He took 2 minutes to explain it to me.
To explain the whole thing because he didn't. Yeah, I got you.
And I'm so damn tired.
So tired.
I maybe out of those 2 nights we were there, I maybe got 4 hours of sleep, 5 at best.
Right.
And standing up that whole night, and I was just sitting there phased out. And I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go back to bed.
I got you, but I mean, it was the most discombobulated.
Oh, I finally watched it yesterday.
I've ever seen. Like, it was the least effective Philly special ever. And what's stupid is you're running it against a team that ran the same play earlier this year. You had the Chargers run the Philly special earlier this season with Justin Herbert, and they were successful. Like, I get it if it hasn't been ran for, a year or two and people have forgotten, but like, everybody's running the Philly special. Why did you think
they made a statue for it?
Right. I was like, why would you think that was the trick play to pull out in that moment? Everybody knows the Philly special now. It's not a surprise. It's not a trick play anymore. It's like the flea flicker. It's just dumb. The Statue of Liberty, all those plays, they're old, they're dumb now. Stop using them. And it's like those things that were constantly infuriating. The bad call of, going for it on fourth when you shouldn't, and as opposed to kicking it when you should have went for it on fourth. Like, this whole coaching staff was so discombobulated. Like, they really tried. I'll give them that. I'll give them the fact that they tried something different. Shermer actually tried some trick plays. He tried some motion, but because you don't practice it all the time, you can't throw it in 1 week and then expect it to work.
I wouldn't be opposed to trying something new if you had stretched it out a bit more. If you had practiced it more, you probably tried it earlier in the season, and maybe go straight away from it for a few games, try something else again. I wouldn't be opposed to it.
1,000%. Yeah, exactly. If you had shown that, like, each week you had put in a new play, put in some new motion, things of that nature. Okay, that's okay to go for it all on the last game where it's do or die. You win this game or your playoff hopes are dead. I get that. But when you have never practiced it, when you have never sat there and broke it down in film rooms and things of that nature, you're going to get the discombobulation that you got yesterday. You're going to get the illegal formations. You're going to get the two players in motion. Go ahead. You're going to get all of these things that you ran into yesterday. You're going to have the poor execution in the red zone. You're going to have the fact that you only were able to score 13 points. So it's annoying to see a coaching staff ignore everything that works in the NFL until it's too late. And then they try to shoehorn it in at the very last moment and be like, hey, see, look, we tried. You were wrong. No, you didn't try. You half-ass tried. You just barely scratched the surface. You weren't able to actually do anything that mattered. You know what I'm saying?
So I can still hear you. I had to run upstairs. My dogs were barking at the damn UPS man.
Try to eat.
Wouldn't put them outside.
Gotcha. Hey, that's all right. Let's see. We got some more. Let's see.
Good
The
thing you couldn't
Chargers
hear them because they were
defense.
loud as shit. Oh, my
No,
bad.
I couldn't hear anything. You're good. You're good. The Chargers defense was too hot to handle for the Broncos.
Chargers have a
I
good
don't.
defense,
Yeah, I mean they
but
have a good defense. Joey
but
Bosa was all over the place.
it
They
was
didn't get a
mainly the
sack.
offense's mistakes.
Yeah, it was mainly bad play calling, drop passes on third down, poor play.
Maybe
calling
some
on
bad
fourth
passes,
down.
some bad run choices.
Yes, I mean, there was, like I said, bad play calling, bad game planning, bad decision making when it came to when to go for it, when to kick.
I'm not
I
putting
mean,
that on the players this game.
no.
The players went out and
Yesterday,
gave it their all.
absolute everything from start to finish. That's another thing I will give this squad. They did not give up, even at the end when they were getting mollywopped. They ran down the field. They got themselves a field goal. They got themselves a touchdown in the fourth quarter. So
And a lot of people
they
don't
had
know.
pride.
I think a lot of people don't know. This group's close. They're closer than a normal Broncos squad that we've had in the past few seasons.
Yes, I agree. I mean, like I said, a few more tweaks, and this is a contender. You get a good, competent quarterback, a couple of good offensive linemen, a couple good D linemen, and then most importantly, like he just mentioned, a whole new coaching staff. At this point, I don't care. I really just everybody has to go outside of Munchak.
Give me Brian Dable, dang it.
Yeah, I mean the only coach
I mean that's our choice, right?
Yeah, the only coach I will keep off of this roster is Mike Munchak because the man
definitely
has literally done the most with the least on this entire coaching staff.
Mm-hmm.
There is outside of Dalton Reisner and maybe Quinn Miners, there's not a single offensive lineman I would keep. Period. Like Massey might not be too bad if you got yourself a veteran.
He did turn Garrett Bowles around, and if you can keep him around, especially with a new coaching staff, which means a new offense, new scheme, new everything, he could turn this guy back around. He didn't have a bad
scheme. Yes.
He didn't have a bad season this year. He didn't have an amazing season. It was I would say it was right in the middle. It was about right in the middle. It wasn't as bad as his first few seasons. Wasn't as great as his first good season. He was consistent.
I mean he's given up as many sacks as Bobby Massey.
Yeah, he was. I will say he was consistent though in his run blocking, which is what he's best at.
Yeah,
and
that went
even
down
though
a little bit, but
yeah, his passing, his pass defending isn't as great.
Never has been.
Has been. But last year he didn't give up a sack, right?
No, he did. Or it was either 0 or 1. Yeah, but that was. Last year was, I think, an anomaly, and he got lucky, and it's why he got the contract he did. Because pass rushing was down across the board. Like, I did a study on it, or I did a research on it last year, and I put up tweets and everything about it, but it was the leader in sacks. It was the least amount of sacks. It was like 12 and a half sacks by TJ Watt was the leader in sacks in the
Is that who led it last year?
Lowest amount. Yeah. That was
Shaq Barrett was the year before. Okay.
Yeah, the year before. Yeah. That was
when he had like 20 something
since 2004.
Yeah.
Okay. So it was down across the board.
Walk, man.
I know. But yeah, I mean, it was absolutely across the board when it came to pass rushing down. So that's why I say last year was an anomaly. It's why I did not like the Broncos popping off with the contract they did, because I did not believe that the man was 25 years old when he was drafted. He was 30 years old when he got his first contract. He's just too old for a long-term, big-time contract. I mean, yes, you got him for cheap when it comes to a left tackle, but definitely. You're getting what you pay for. You paid for a cheap left tackle. You're getting the play of a cheap left tackle.
But if what I was looking at is, if you can make him stay consistent, especially with Munchak, right? Didn't pay him a lot. Like, he was cheap. If you can just keep him consistent on his pass blocking and on the run, he doesn't have to be like the best left tackle in the league. You just need to keep him out there where he's not giving up these sacks. He's not breaking these runs. He's not letting these runs break. I think the money stays worth it. But as of now, I'm staying in the middle.
Yeah. If you get an Aaron Rodgers, a Deshaun, well, actually not a Deshaun Watson. Well, actually, I think he would actually be better with Deshaun Watson because he would be protecting not his blind side, but his front side. because Deshaun's left-handed.
Oh, that's
So,
right, isn't he? No,
I
aren't you
actually
thinking
kind of
of
like that.
aren't you thinking of Tua?
Oh wait, no, I'm not.
That's Tua.
I'm thinking of Tua. Yeah, I'm thinking
Because
of Tua.
Deshaun's right-handed.
I think so. Yeah, I'm thinking of Tua. Never mind. So,
Hey, are you excited for this
um,
national championship game?
no, why? I'm so tired of the SEC, bro. I'm so tired. I am so tired of the
Can we both
insufferable
agree?
SEC fans.
Can we both agree,
Good.
Georgia?
Yes, I would
Because
rather
I want
see
them to
Georgia.
redeem themselves after that bowl that they pulled in the last national championship game with Jake Fromm, where they
Yes.
just let them throw that deep ball.
I mean, that was gross.
I
That
loved
was
me some. I
definitely
love me
gross.
some Jake Fromm, man, and now he's a practice squad quarterback for the Bills.
Jake from State
Oh,
Farm.
Jake
Didn't
Fromm,
he get
yeah.
Yeah, didn't he get a start the other week? I swear that like he was
Did he?
pulled off of somebody's practice squad and actually got a start
Huh?
the other day because like
No, I like me some Jake Fromm, but my favorite quarterback that came into the league this year, who I think should be getting a start, did he start this week? Was Sam Ellinger from Texas. Did he start this week or did Carson Wentz pull through?
I think they actually got Carson off. But let me double check.
They played today. Who'd they play? The Raiders. Oh, they lost to the Raiders.
Yeah, the Raiders ended up winning.
It was Carson Wentz.
Yep, he did. Yeah, Twitter drags Carson Wentz after poor outing and lost to Raiders.
Hey, that man has redeemed himself this season.
Right, but
going
we do
to
have
a new team.
Here.
Yeah.
Yes. How do you feel about the overall performance of the Broncos with Bridgewater compared to Locke? Locke it's a completely different defense or offense. I mean, like especially if you look at yesterday. If Teddy was out there yesterday, the Chargers would have put 8 men in the box all day long. They would have never respected the deep ball. But then you saw what Locke does, and that would have stopped. Melvin Gordon would have averaged 4.3 yards per carry with Teddy Bridgewater out there because they would have stacked the box. But because Drew was out there, Derwin James did what he doesn't normally do. He hung out in the backfield almost all game.
The man doesn't get the credit he deserves sometimes. The man is a beast.
He's a beast. He's an absolute beast. And he's a lot like Justin Simmons, but maybe a little bit more physical and hits a bit harder.
Yeah, he's more of a strong safety than a free safety.
Yeah, exactly. But he played in the deep part of the field almost the entire game. Why? Because they were terrified of what Drew Lock could do with the deep ball. And you saw it on a couple of plays. You saw Seth Williams go up and get that 34-yarder. You saw Cortland Sutton go up and get that, it was like almost a 40-yarder before him in the game. And so they knew that at any moment, if they gave Drew the look that he wanted, they gave him a one-on-one with one of his big receivers, he's not scared like Teddy Bridgewater to put it in tight coverage. He will put it up for his 50-50 guy. Teddy plays scared unless the guy is wide open. That's why Jerry Jeudy was his favorite target, because he's the only guy that was on the roster that could get separation. Every other receiver on the roster was built for a Drew Lock type quarterback that they weren't going to get the big separation. They're like a Michael Thomas. They're going to have a guy on them almost the entire route, but when it comes to the apex of the route, they are going to out muscle that smaller cornerback or safety to get that ball, but you have to give them that chance. Teddy wouldn't, Drew does, and that's why Drew is much more entertaining than Teddy.
You know, this season would have been very different. I don't know if it would have been a good different or a bad different if Drew was named the starter at the beginning of the season. We'll never know, and who knows? It could have been good, it could have been bad, right? But now that you make Teddy start this year, and that means Drew had no chance to prove himself that much this season. So it's probably going to be another season of him, depending on what they do in the draft, in the offseason. Who knows? George Payton's a man of mystery, and I love it.
Yes,
but it's one of those anomaly things that we'll never know. We'll never know what would have happened because the man popped off in the preseason. He doubled Teddy's numbers even in less snaps.
Yeah. I mean, he in every way he outperformed Teddy in the preseason. The only thing that I have ever seen where Teddy has the edge is practice. And it's like I had the argument on Christmas Day with my brother-in-laws. Are we seriously talking about practice? Like, why are we talking about Teddy is better in practice? Who cares? Who's better in the game? Who was better when live bullets were flying? Who was better when they didn't have a red jersey to make sure that nobody touched them? That's what matters. I don't care what you have to say about his practices with the Vikings or his practices against the number 2 defense. Y'all realize that once the regular season starts, the number 1 offense does not ever go up against the number 1 defense again. Once training camp is over, the number 1 offense and number 1 defense never see each other on the practice field. Ever, for any reason. Because it's too great of a chance of people getting upset, people getting, I'm the competitive spirit of any alpha male or any athlete when you're setting them up against
you never
each
know.
other.
Emmanuel Sanders will probably throw a punch on to Cortland Sutton
exactly,
again.
Exactly. It's stuff like that happens. It's why training camp is so strenuous. It's because you're hitting the same guys over and over and over again, and they're also other alphas and they're starters, and so you butt heads and fights break out. So again, that's one of the reasons, but it's
because the defense
injuries,
and during
fights.
practices, the defense will play against the scout team.
Right.
So that means the backup or the third string, whoever it'll be, they'll be out there mimicking the quarterback. They're playing, doing their calls, doing everything.
Yeah. Like we had talked about earlier, like the week of the Ravens, when I laughed at y'all about, Drew should have came in and lit up the world against the Ravens. Really? Because he spent the week pretending to be Lamar Jackson, not running any Broncos plays. He spent the week pretending to be Lamar Jackson so that the defense was prepared for Lamar Jackson. That's why I laugh at y'all when y'all say these stupid things, and I call them stupid because you don't think about the nuances. You don't, and that's okay as a fan if you don't want to think about practice. But when you don't want to think about practice when it hurts your narrative, don't throw practice at me because you think it helps your narrative. So,
yeah.
That's what it is. And Randall, my guy, appreciate you coming in, giving us a shout. See, I always enjoy a dance sports debate. Yep.
Yeah, I let him run it.
I actually ran out the entire, speaking of Christmas Day, I wanted to talk about this last week, but yeah, I spent almost the entirety of Christmas Day at my sister Becky's house, having a sports debate with her husband, Jeff, and my other brother-in-law, Sam, who you all have seen on here, also on Twitter, @whome on Twitter. That's always talking to me about
I'm trying to avoid Twitter.
How much he hates him. Right, I do too, but I mean business.
Yeah.
But
I mean, if I had a bigger following, definitely.
Those two, we spent the entire day arguing over Drew Lock. But I win, as always. I won.
This is why I just let you run with it. Yeah. I try not to talk. I just let you run with it. I've done enough shows with you where I just let you have your time.
I appreciate you. But yeah, no, they really tried. They gave valiant efforts. I will give them that. But again, this is what I do for a living, guys. And it's like they want to be surprised when I can just keep going and going and going and going.
Do you remember our first show, how much of a shit show it was?
Yeah. I mean, everybody's first show
was
a shit show.
I remember that. And then the second show clicked and we were from there.
Let's go it. And let's do it, man. I mean, hey, yeah, that's how it works, bro. You got it.
I mean, mainly it's because we had 3 instead of us. It was Theo and us.
Yes. That was a major turning point. Yeah, when it got to the trio, we were the 3 amigos, and we was killing it after that. Most definitely. Yeah, it got squirrely every once in a while whenever Theo wasn't there, and I had to run boards and stuff. It got fun. But
that's when our shows got good, I would say, because we put in some bowl and some serious work.
Yes, most definitely. We should have a Dan and Dylan sports debate live.
Not gonna happen. I'll lose. I just have to listen to him and then smile and wave.
Smile and wave, just like the princess.
That's not gonna happen. It's gonna.
Yeah.
I know I can sports debate other people, but I just like to listen to you.
I appreciate. No, I know you can go toe to toe, brother, but I appreciate that. But we want to go ahead, like we were saying, we want to highlight some of these guys that were thrown in the fire and showed some serious chops. Like we were talking about, we had Micah Kaiser, a guy that was picked up off the practice squad, ended up with 12 tackles, tied for the team lead with the guy we mentioned earlier, Jonas Griffith, who also was just seemingly everywhere except for in coverage. I mean, these guys looked like really good, thumpers, middle linebackers, playing the run, but they definitely have some limitations in coverage. But again, thrown in the fire, they did absolutely wonderful. Then you had the guy I would like to highlight, which is Jonathan Harris. This is a defensive tackle that, again, came off the practice squad and had 8 tackles.
I mean, I don't know what it is about the Broncos that can find talent in free agency and practice squads that can shine. Like
undrafted free agents, late.
I can bring up the best example right now, and that's Rod Smith.
Yep,
undrafted free agent, should be in the Hall of Fame.
Actually, you want to go even further?
Terrell was a 6th
rounder.
Yep.
Yeah.
Man was eating hot dogs on the sideline in Tokyo, went and got a hit, threw up, and was a starting running back.
Right? That's an epic story. I love that. I love how you broke that.
He was going to fly home, but then nobody at the front desk spoke English, so he had to stay.
He had to stay and ended up getting a tackle on special teams.
With Rod Smith on the field. Rod Smith was the one tailing him.
Yep.
That was both their rookie years.
Think about that. 2 of the greatest players in the Broncos history were playing special teams. Like, if that doesn't tell you what you need to do to make it in this league, then you're not paying attention.
And it's like Eddie Mack they brought Eddie Mack over because Shanahan was with them in San Francisco.
Yep, exactly. I mean, it just goes across as like, I have got to give. This is one thing I will give Fangio credit for. He has yet to have his team quit on him, no matter how bad it's gotten, no matter how ugly it's gotten, no matter how vindictive they might feel, or
and it shows you how good those guys really are, how good people they are.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I've said, like, I never really wanted to attack Fangio personally. I don't want to call him a POS or anything of that nature because he seems.
I'll say that to Pat Shurmur, but
yes, exactly. I don't care about Pat Shurmur's feelings, he's always came off, but that's a different kind of person too. He's always came off as arrogant and just condescending, an absolute tool, and also absolute douche nozzle. Like, I mean, I can't stand Pat Shurmur in any way. Now, Fangio, I would love to go to Fangio's house and have some homemade meatballs and
that video's great, dude.
Yes, it is. I would do that any day of the week.
Would you be opposed to bringing him back as a DC?
I wouldn't. But
see, that's what I would too. But the thing is, he'll probably still think it's his team, right?
Yeah, and I don't see why he would want to. Yeah, I mean, I don't see why you would take a demotion to the same team. And he's also old. Maybe he might want a year off because he's going to get paid next year if they fire him. Because he's under contract for 1 more year.
Mm-hmm.
That's why people are asking him, does he feel like he deserves another year?
Dude, just go chill at home, dude. Get money,
right? And get paid millions of dollars. I think
I'm down for that.
Like $6 million a year.
Can I do that?
Home, chill, eat. I wish I would too, brother. Go home and make all them hand-rolled meatballs all you want for $6 million and doing nothing.
Travel, whatever you want.
Yeah, but he is also a football head. So I would honestly be surprised if he took a year off. But also wouldn't be too surprised if he did. So
like John Fox have a heart attack and come back.
Right.
Was it a heart attack? I don't remember what it was.
I don't know. It was something like that. It was like a heart attack, or it was like a pulmonary embolism or something of that nature. Something that almost killed him. And then he came back. Same thing with Kubiak, had some heart issues and came back. So these football guys, it's hard to keep them away from football. So I wouldn't be surprised if he came back as a DC for somebody.
He had a heart valve. He had a
heart valve. So heart issue.
It's like most of these old school football guys, especially like here's a perfect example. And Al Davis, the man just could not step away when he was on his deathbed. The man was still there with the team, running the team when he was dying.
I know, isn't that sad? It's crazy. It's like, dude, just enjoy your life. I understand that
Hey, that's what he
football is your
enjoyed.
life, but
Yeah,
exactly. Football was his life, and that's what he enjoyed. So he was there until the day he died. And I mean,
especially
that's
like
how most of these coaches are. How most of
especially
these
with the
old
John
footballers
Madden
are.
nowadays. The fact that he stepped away is what surprises most people.
Right. Stepped away.
He
Went
could
and
have
found.
died in
I
that
mean,
booth.
yeah, he could have. And and it could have died on the sidelines. I
Yeah.
mean, the man's a Hall of Famer as a broadcaster and a coach, and he played in the league.
And he has a football game named after him.
The only football game.
Yeah, the only
is
football
named
game.
after him. So yeah, I mean, literally
Man, that man got paid
everything that
hella
we
royalties.
experience. Yeah, everything we experience on a football Sunday, Monday, or Thursday, or in this case Saturday, when it comes to this time of year, every bit of it has been influenced by John Madden in some way or another.
R.I.P. John Madden, R.I.P. Betty White.
Yes. Oh man, Betty White hurts the most. Like
Dude,
I love John Madden, but Betty White was that was I mean that was my grandmother I never had.
I saw something.
I love Betty White.
About that. It was like, Betty White must have saw something about 2022 that we didn't see. Said, nah,
right.
I'm good.
Right, I'm out.
Roaring 20s 2.0. Does that mean we're going to get a Great Depression in about 8 years?
Bro. I don't know, man. This has been insane, but I don't want to go down that path today.
Yeah.
Let's keep it as
that's
for as possible.
That's for the deck.
That's for the deck, exactly. But looks like we're getting to the end of the show here, guys. So we're gonna go ahead and jump into our previews and picks of Kansas City.
Game did get flexed. Did you see that?
Yes,
got
game got flexed to Saturday. Broncos will be the first team to enjoy their offseason, regardless of what happens. So, as we spoke earlier, they are going to be playing the Kansas City Chiefs in the final game of the season, in the final home game of the season. Little puppies just want to be heard.
I think I did hear my brother stop by. He must have let them in.
Must have. Yep. That's all right.
Unless I forgot to latch the door.
If anybody has a problem with the puppies, they can just leave. It's all good. But yeah, again, Broncos are going in shorthanded. Right now, they have on just the injured reserve they have 12 men on the injured reserve. They still got almost almost 20 on the COVID list.
Most of those should return now with the new CDC guidelines.
Yes, the new CDC guidelines, the new NFL guidelines, and the fact that I think the Broncos are one of the few teams that actually has 100% of their players vaccinated.
And I think most have the booster.
And most have the booster at this point.
I got my booster. That thing wrecked me.
It didn't wreck me. Honestly, all I got was this giant. I had a giant welt. On my
first
arm.
two shots
for like 10 hours.
My first 2 shots did nothing to me except sore arm. And this one, I went to bed at like 10, woke up at 1 in the morning, felt like I felt awful. And then I felt better later in the day and went and partied.
There you go. Hey, as long as you got I just got mine a couple weeks ago.
Yeah,
the first shot, I didn't really get anything. Second shot.
Well, the first shot, if you get the first shot and it affects you bad, it means you had COVID before. Right. Is what they say.
Gotcha. Okay, so yeah, I've never had COVID. The first shot didn't bother me. The second shot, I slept for almost 16 hours, like straight. Like I was in a coma.
These are one of the best sleeps though you'll ever get.
Oh, dude, when I woke up, I felt like Superman. I'd never slept so well in my life.
That's how it was for my booster shot.
The third one, all I got was a welt. Like I ended up with like a huge welt on this arm right here. And I slept for like maybe 10 hours, but other than that, I was perfectly fine. So those of you out there worried, there's nothing to be scared of. Stop being a wimp. It's not a Fauci ouchie. You're just a wuss. Shut up. But anyways, I will go on.
If you don't want to hey, it's healthier than taking heroin. I'll say that right now.
Right. It's healthier than shooting yourself up with bleach. How about that one?
Hey, bleach is pretty all right. Okay.
Again,
don't down on it.
Don't down on it. It's so simple. The Broncos are going in depleted again with another much superior team. I mean, you got Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. I know the last couple of weeks we've been talking about winnable. I am going to be honest. I don't see winnable this week.
You just hate
the
the Broncos,
depleted
man.
roster. the fact that the Kansas City Chiefs are probably playing the best ball of the year at this point. They are probably peaking at the perfect time.
Oh, they played great against the Bengals yesterday.
They did. I mean, they
well,
played
according
great.
to Brittany, according to Patrick Mahomes' girlfriend, they got screwed over by the refs. But Cincinnati had more penalties. But
oh my God, yes, I know.
The man needs to
I
pull
can't
the
stand his
A-Rod.
family.
He's to pull an A-Rod and divorce his family.
Please do it. Family and your girlfriend. Get rid of them all. Oh my God, they are infuriating. The man won the game. Get over yourselves. Shut up and move on.
The dog,
anyway,
Joe Burrow.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the Broncos have a much better defense. The Broncos are the number 2 rated, even after yesterday. They are the number 2 rated scoring defense in the league. They are third at 18.4 points per game. Then, and total yards per game, even after again yesterday, where they got a little bit mollywhopped, they are still in the top 10. They are 9th in the league.
We've seen what they did.
6th in passing. Yeah,
we've seen what they've done to the Chiefs before too. They played great against the Chiefs on the defensive side of the ball.
They have probably done the best job of shutting down Mahomes of any team outside of the Bucs in the Super Bowl, and that has been regardless of who's been on the field. So the juxtaposition comes with, again, this KC offense is the 4th in scoring, 3rd in total yards per game, 3rd in passing yards per game, but only 16th in rushing yards per game. So if KC is able to run, if KC is able to run the way that Los Angeles ran the ball yesterday, it's going to be a very long, very ugly game. If the Broncos are able to contain Edwards-Helaire and Tyreek Hill and all of them the way that they have, this is going to be a close game.
We should be getting Kenny Young back this week, right?
Yes, I believe Kenny Young's coming back. Baron Browning should be back.
Because Kenny Young is going to be what we want for Travis Kelce. He covered that man well. Yep. Yes, and he covered that man well in the first meeting.
Yeah, him and Baron Browning did an absolutely perfect job on them in the first meeting. So if both those guys come back, Purcell can come back to plug the middle of the field, and maybe we see what this Jonathan Harris kid has. Like I said, 8 tackles by a nose tackle in this defense is insane. Like, that's a lot of tackles. I think the most Mike Purcell has had in his entire career in this defense is like 4 in a game. So that tells you how just disruptive that kid was. So I'd like to see him a little bit more. Deshaun Williams showed a little bit yesterday, so maybe show him. I'm of the mind, I don't care if they win or lose. Let all those young kids go out there. Let them play. See what you got for
them. Let them prove themselves.
Matter. Exactly. This week doesn't matter. No matter what the Broncos do, their season's over. They could beat the Chiefs by 500 points. It doesn't matter. They're still going home.
Hey, if they beat them by 500, that's some bull. They should make it.
Right, they should. But I'm saying it doesn't matter. Yeah. Nothing that they do matters this week.
What matters this week, and this will be my prediction right here, is show me what he can do. Show me what he can do. Bradley, show me what you can do on that side of the ball. Let's get your money. Let's get Bradley his money. Because the man, when he's on the field, he's a presence and he's done everything great. It's just those injuries that you got to keep down a bit. This one was just a little bit of it's just the COVID thing, so it could have happened to anybody. 1,000%, so that one, I can't really blame the man for that. Can't really blame him for the injuries either.
No, I mean, this is football. Injuries are going to happen. You are 100% chance of being injured if you play football. That's just how it goes. It's just a matter of time. I mean, you have some of these records by offensive linemen, Brett Favre for most consecutive. They were not.
Eli Manning was supposed to break that, but then the Giants screwed him.
Yeah, they did. But I mean, again, they weren't playing 100% healthy all the time. They were still hurt. Just because a player is on the field doesn't mean they're not injured.
Brett Favre, wasn't there a game where he played with like 2 cracked ribs?
Yeah, 2 cracked. I mean, he played with cracked ribs. He played.
The man had 3 cracked ribs, and he was something to do with his ankles and knees in that NFC Championship game against the Saints, and was still out there able to almost win the game. Oh, dude, could you imagine?
Another question.
Could you imagine?
Broncos officially eliminated. Yes, Victor Jimenez The Broncos are officially eliminated. They have a 0% chance. Like I said before, there is no chance whatsoever the Broncos going to the playoffs. No matter what they do this week, they are gone. Their season's over, and it's going to be on Saturday, so it's the quickest of any other team to go to their off season.
That's just the Broncos for you.
Yeah. That's
all right, I got my prediction here for you.
Go for it. I was just about to ask for it.
Drew is going to have himself a great game, I think. The man has proved himself that he can still play in the NFL. He can play for this team, and he wants to show it this week because I've been seeing a lot more Drew fans out there recently.
They've started to come out the woodwork. Yes.
We've been here. We're OGs. We're Shermer stands, and we're
since day one, baby.
We're Horse Cocklock fans as well.
Exactly.
It's the greatest nickname of all time. I don't care what you say.
It really is.
And he gives himself a great game. Javonte and Melvin go out there and do what they do. And I think we're going to see a nice mix on the offense of the run pass. And I think if the Broncos can pull this off, I want to give you two predictions. I don't want to end the season saying the Broncos are going to win or lose. I want to go, if the Broncos go out there and do what I think they're going to do, they can win 24-21. But if they go out there and still prove themselves and play and they still lose a close game, I would be okay with that.
I agree. I will go ahead and give a full-on prediction. I do believe that Drew Lock goes out and he has a showing. I do believe that this offense probably goes out and has its best showing of the year because I think Pat Shurmur's going to finally realize that his time is up. And why not just pull all the tricks out of the bag and maybe show something to his next employee.
I don't know who would want to hire him, but
I don't know. But the white guys in the NFL that seem to know people tend to get the extra, 5 million chances. So Shurmur's been around for a while. He knows a lot of guys in the league. I'm
about
sure
the Italian. I love me the Italian.
Yeah. So I do think that, they probably had their best showing, but again, Pat Mahomes and them, they're fighting for that 1 seed. So they're not going to be sitting anybody.
I think the Titans need to win to secure it, right?
Yes, they need to. So and because the game was flexed to Saturday, that means the Kansas City Chiefs have to play their starters because they don't know what's going to happen with the Titans. Now,
and the Titans play the Texans.
If the Titans would have went out there and lost before the Broncos and Chiefs game, then you would have seen the Chiefs all their starters would have been sitting on the sidelines. You would have got all their backups and everything. But because they still have a chance at the 1 seed, they are going to play all their starters. Mm-hmm. And they are going to have a legit game plan. And Andy Reid is going to want to win this game.
They have to win and need the Titans to lose, but the Titans just need a win to secure, or they need a KC loss.
Yeah, because they beat KC earlier in the year, so they have the tiebreaker. So if Tennessee wins, they lock up the number 1 seed.
Which it should be a pretty easy win, right?
But hey, you
never know.
The Texans just dropped 40 on who was it?
The Chargers.
The Chargers. Yes, they just dropped 40 on the Chargers. So any given Sunday, people. So, the Chiefs are going to go out there. They're going to try to get that win and see if they can't secure the number 1 seed and the only bye week. This is, again, another new thing this year that the only team that gets the bye week is the number 1 seed.
It was last year, too. It was there last year.
Oh, yes, that's right. It started last year. So, yes, so just like last year, the number 1 seed is the only one that gets a bye week. The number 2 seed and everybody else has to play on wild card week because
I like it better if I'm going to be honest.
I do too. I don't see a problem with it.
Why does the 2 get one? They're second best.
Exactly. What makes it special if both the 1 and 2 get it? So
yeah.
And also, they added the extra wild card team. That's why they really did it. Mm-hmm. But I agree with you for that specific reason. I think it's more fair. Give it to the.
And we get another Nickelodeon wild card game.
Right. That would be great. And it avoids tanking. It avoids people sitting their starters in the last week because you got to fight for that number 1 seed.
Got to fight for your right to party, man.
With that being the case, unfortunately, beside the fact that I'm being the ultimate Broncos fan, I got to be honest. I got to be real. I can't see a way of the Broncos winning this game. The Chiefs want it too bad. So I'm going to go, but again, I do believe it's going to be a better effort. The offense is going to score more points. It's going to be a funner game than what the Broncos fans have
The
experienced
second
over the
game
last
is
2
usually
weeks.
a lot closer against
It
the
usually
Chiefs.
is. So I will give another low scoring, battle it out affair. Chiefs win 20-16.
All
There's
right.
the prediction. But again, appreciate y'all coming in. We got damn, I can't believe you guys beat my Cowboys too. Dude, we can't believe we beat your Cowboys.
I can. What are you talking about? I predicted that.
I should say I can't. He actually did predict it. I do apologize. My bad, my guy, my bad. But yeah, he predicted it.
Like that World Series prediction. That was like complete nonsense that pulled off.
Absolute nonsense. Yeah, that was the Astros World Series, right?
Yeah, it was the Nationals Astros when the Nationals won.
The Nationals Astros. Yep.
And when I was like, nobody's gonna win at home, bro. Look at this.
No, nobody's gonna win at home, and they didn't. Nobody won at home. It was all one on the road. That was insane. But yeah, that's my guy. But yeah, thank you, Victor, for coming in. I appreciate seeing some new people coming in from YouTube. I love y'all. Please bring it on back every week. Again, I know last week we missed it. We had some technical difficulties this week, but as always, we will be here from now on, Mondays 2 to 3 p.m. here at Breakin Broncos. Be on the lookout. Some new big things are coming. I'm going to slap y'all with something y'all ain't ready for here pretty soon. So be on the lookout for that. Again, I am Dan Wetstein. That's my boy Dylan Miles. We are the Breakin Broncos on the Bird Game Sports Media Network. The answer is 42 Media Network. Again, don't you ever question that blue.
No, sir.